Tana, did you hear about the new Paisanos deal? More pizza, less dough. Medium, one topping, $5.99. Are you out of your mind?
I'm going to order it right now, buddy. What's the code?
Yes, $5.99 pizza. Hurry up, man. Press send. I'm hungry.
I'm on it, buddy.
Yes.
Coming up on the Santana Moss Show, we're here at Catholic University.
Hear about how Santana Moss's flights got delayed, canceled, rescheduled. Oh, Lord, you just got to hear a story.
And Adrian Peterson is shooting for 2,000 yards in a loaded backfield.
Good luck with that. And we're talking NBA all around the league with Santana Moss.
And it's so hard to give Trav these L's like Toronto Raptors have given him in the past weeks. I told him Drake was back.
Tana loves when I take L's. Don't let him fool you. The Santana Moss Show podcast starts right now. Keith, we forgot to tell you we have our own theme song.
Yeah,
I've heard the theme song. I turned it on in my office one time.
Yeah.
Oops. I work at the Salvation Army. Oops.
Now I'm ready to go. Hey, Santana Moss Show from Catholic University. You gotta love it. Travis Thomas, Santana Moss, and a special guest, Keith Moore from the Salvation Army joins us. Gentlemen, how art thou?
I'm great, man. Lovely day out here. It was a great day, man. Great outing. Salvation Army gave me and B Mitch the nod to come out here and host one of these, one of the camps that I do every year down in the Loudon area. And guess what? I said, hey, count me in. I'm here.
No doubt. So, Keith, I want to get into what brings these guys out here today, obviously, and also your role with the Salvation Army.
Sure. I met Santana out in Loudon before I started working in D.C., and I knew he had camp, and I went to see his camp, and I saw the way it ran, and I was really impressed because I have two kids. They went to camps, and I like the fact that he gets there when it starts, and he's one of the last people to leave versus somebody that just comes in and watches and takes off. And so I moved into D.C., and I talked to Santana and said, hey, would you be willing to do something like that for the kids in D.C.? Because they really don't have the money to be able to go to a suburban camp, and they just don't have the type of resources. And it was, yes, absolutely. That sounds like a great thing to do. So he brought Brian into it as well. And Brian's been here through the whole thing. He's coming in tomorrow as well. So these guys came in here and they've really done a fantastic job with these kids. They're not only teaching them football, but they're teaching them life, which is really important, as you well know. So that's that. And for myself, I'm just in fundraising for the Salvation Army. And frankly, the Salvation Army is a great organization. They do a lot of good things, and this is just in line with what they do. They do things for kids, and they do things for folks that don't have. So under those circumstances, this is a great opportunity for me to get out.
It doesn't surprise me at all. I'm sure you had Santana at kids. I mean, once you said that, he's always in. He's always down to do the right thing for the youths of tomorrow. Mm-hmm. I will say this, though, and I just told you this off air. When I arrived today, Tana was already doing his thing, right? And I couldn't physically see him. There's a lot of counselors and coaches and kids on the field. And I'm like, I don't see Santana. And then you could just hear him coaching these kids. No, you over there, you in that line. Now come, run through. And then what was the kid's name?
Thomas.
Thomas.
He's a star already. He's on the Santana Moss Show.
Shout outs to Thomas and the rest of the kids. One time
for the young fella, man, Thomas. He got on me early. Hey, Keith, can you share with the listeners and some of the viewers a little more about Salvation Army? I think one of the things, you grow up and you hear about the many different places or things like Salvation Army out there that, cater to a lot of folks that they might not know. But I learned so much these last few months with you, just, doing some of the things that I've done with you and Salvation Army. So can you share with these viewers and listeners about a little more about Salvation Army and what they do for the community around here?
Yeah, sure. You're absolutely right. The Salvation Army is always there. The nutshell of our mission is to take care of people who are in need, regardless of race, creed, color, etc. We do not discriminate amongst folks. And we do everything from helping people get their power back on, paying the power company to do that with Washington Gas. We got a great partnership with them. We have housing for young mothers and children who are coming off the street, and we have a program with them to help get them educations and skills and so forth. Kids are taken care of, very long-term program. And then they can go out, and we even have real estate people that help them find a place to live afterwards. The most recent opportunity we've had is we opened an anti-human trafficking facility, which Santana and Brian Mitchell both attended a gala that we had for funding of that human trafficking site. So that's the kind of thing that we do. Everybody knows us by the red kettles at Christmas by Giant. We're in business all year round, and we do all kinds of things.
Tell me this too. Is there a number or something that these folks can reach out to you guys who in need and that might be listening to you right now today and just, you know what, they didn't know that help was ever existing, so they might want to reach out and say, hey, give me a holler, or give you a holler and see if you can help them.
Or a website or something.
All they have to do is type into their browser USS Salvation Army.
Gotcha.
And then they'll do it just like everybody else. What's your zip code? And we're all set.
Well, thanks to you, Keith, and thanks to the Salvation Army.
And thanks very much for having me. I really appreciate it. Santana, thanks from the Salvation Army and the kids. We certainly appreciate it.
No, thank you, man.
Tana, I know you're a humble guy, so you'll never say this, but I got to tell you, it's such an eye-opening experience to sit here in the press box at Catholic University talking to the man himself and watching the camp take place.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's pretty dope, man. But honestly, I have to tip my hat off to Salvation Army, just teaming up with these guys and being a part of what they're being a part of. Like, one of the things that I talk about so much is, the things that I'm trying to do in my community, in Loudoun County out there with some of the youth and just being in their lives. It's not all about giving something. I think if you give them time, that's more than enough at times. And I didn't realize that as a young guy in this league or in the league, you thought, okay, I give them, buy their uniforms, or, you pay for something that their coach might want you to pay for that's outrageous at times. But more than anything, if you give them your time, that's more than enough. And I'm understanding that now. I think the years that have gone by, and I understand that these kids are not going to get to know what it takes unless you're there to tell them.
True.
Unless you're there to show them. And that's why I get a kick out of it. Like you said earlier to Keith, you pretty much had Tana at kids. When you said it was about the kids, yeah, it's about the youth, man. It's about our world, our future. And so when he came to me and said, hey, ever since we teamed up and joined forces, and he said, hey, I'm going to back 89 Ways to Give, and I said, hey, I'm going to back anything you're doing in the Salvation Army. Salvation Army is worldwide. The things that they're doing, throughout the DMV and just nationally alone, if you can hang on that coattail, that's a big up for you. So I'm like, I know I can't reach everybody.
Yeah.
So for the ones that I can't reach, as long as I'm partnering with you, then I'm able to reach these guys. The donations I give to you from people giving me donations for the things I'm doing in my community, I'm able to reach the kids that I don't see. So coming out here in the DMV, coming out here in DC alone and being able to put a camp on with these guys along with Brian Mitchell, that's nothing for us, because we understand that unless these kids get it from the guys themselves that they watch and they admire, then they really won't get it. So that's why we out here today.
I'm going to tell you, these are some youngins, but a couple of them can ball. I just seen one kid hit the hell out of a tackling dummy. I want to sign him to the Redskins right now.
Yeah, one of the things, I was talking to a parent earlier, and I saw him at the Salvation event, to the gala that we attended. And his son's out here 12 years. I think he's about 12.
12.
And his son has some talent. I watched his son very closely, but I was telling him that, you never know, where these camps can take you. You know, I went to one camp ever in my life, one. And it was just one of those camps that I was going into my senior year in high school, and they put on a camp at Pace High School, not too far from, my neighborhood where I grew up in Miami. And tell you the truth, when I came from that camp, I had recognition, and everyone had me in, magazines and newspapers going to my senior year saying this kid could be a sleeper. And I'm like, I went to a school where, the last 2 years of being a starting wide receiver, I probably had a total of 8 catches in 2 years.
But that camp,
we didn't throw the ball,
right.
And I was telling the guy's father, like, you never know who's watching. You never know who's out here. This camp is not like that camp because, that camp was, primarily for high school kids
you were older.
that was trying to, go into the next level. So you had scouts and stuff out there. But one of the things I was trying to tell that father is that make sure your kid know that when he's out here, always pay attention and always do what he has to do, because you never know who's going to see it. You never know who we know that might can tell the next person, like, hey, watch out for this kid or whatever. So, and I was just telling them my story, like, hey, man, I was a nobody going into my senior year, and I read the paper and they said I was a sleeper. And I'm like, well, what have I done to show you that? But I understand that the things that I've done up to that point from track and football has kind of risen someone's eyebrow enough to say, you know, we have to put more of a conscious effort on this kid because he might do something this year. And that was the year I exploded.
No doubt about it. So look, we know you're doing the Salvation Army stuff, but all the Santana Moss Show family out there knows damn well you busy, and this ain't the only thing you've been doing. So please catch us up on where in the world is Santana Moss?
Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? No, honestly, last week I went to Winchester. Winchester showed me so much love. So shout outs to Winchester.
They had you before for different stuff.
I done been in Winchester back and forth, man. And I'm actually got to get back out there. I'm not sure if it's in Winchester or is in Front Royal, but they have the only drive-in movie theater that's in the area. So, you know, for us folks that stay out there
still
in
make
Ashburn,
those?
Virginia, they have one standing still, and I love the drive-in. So I've been saying I'm going to get back. I've told the mayor a couple of times that I'm going to get back to the area so I can, you know, attend the drive-in just to see what it's like out here.
Yeah.
But special shout out to those guys that host me this past weekend out there in Winchester. I was at the Apple Blossom Mall. I did autograph signing. A lot of people showed up. It was a great event, and like I said before, Winchester always showed me love. Besides that, I jetted down to Miami right after that appearance. My oldest daughter turned 15 on the 18th.
Happy birthday.
So Sanaya, getting up there.
Wow.
Slow down, baby. You make me, you know. I know I just turned 40
Crazy.
a couple of weeks ago, but
Damn,
yeah,
you're getting old, dog.
that's what they say, you know, but I think I'm just getting a little wiser, man. You know, I don't want to put the old age on me too fast.
Ain't no grays neither. You all black. You got some grays?
A couple of them popping up, but I'm not gonna shy away from them. Like I tell them, man, look, any and everything that comes your way is meant to happen. So you got to take it on the way it is, the way it comes. But I was in Miami for 5 or 6 days because of my daughter's birthday, and it's great to be able just to be around your kids, man. Like I share this all the time with a couple of friends of mine that just to be in the area with them. Like I don't have to do something special, but just to sit down on that couch. Sometimes I find myself yelling because I'm hearing noise from Savion screaming at the game that he playing upstairs. He's one of those guys that get mad at the game and punch walls and punch doors. And
I wonder where he gets that competitive
Santana
nature.
Jr. does it as well. You know, he's 19 and you be like, why are you still punching doors and walls up there because of these video games? And then Sanaya is the one that's in her room quiet most of the time. She got some old music in her ears. I guess she got that old soul from her dad. I'm always into old school R&B hits. Travis over here giggling, chuckling up because he know
R&B Tana.
He gonna go back to, boy, I rode in that Tana range and that boy had them.
I'm telling you.
them hits from the 80s in there. But yeah, man, just being in the environment, being home and just seeing the kids, man, it brightened up my week. So that was all the good part. And then getting back, I told you, caught hell getting back the other day.
Come on.
I mean, I was in the airport from 5 to 7 o'clock. You know, 5 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Lord have mercy.
And that just was ridiculous, trying to get myself back up here.
Flight delayed, flight canceled.
Flight canceled, changed airports, you name it. Finally got out, then got delayed again. But I got here, and I know I had a couple of priorities, and one was, you know, hosting this camp for Salvation Army, and 2 was making sure that we can keep our listeners for the Santana Moss Show.
This is what you need. It's time for you, Tana. Go ahead and invest in a PJ. Get yourself a private jet. This is what we'll do. Write the check to me. I'll deposit it into my account, and I'll go get the jet on your behalf.
You just make sure you get the jet from me, huh? That's how it works. Well, first of all, them flights gonna have to keep getting delayed and canceled on me because I ain't spending that money on a private jet.
Hey, Tana, we might as well switch gears, man, and get into some Redskins stuff. You know, it's not a show if we don't talk skins. Now, leading up to camp, we're going to have plenty of time to break down a lot of these position battles, right? But one that intrigues me, I want to ask you about is a running back. I don't know if I want to call it a battle, but it's a little crowded now in the running backfield, in my opinion, with Darius guys coming back. Adrian Peterson apparently is Benjamin Button and is aging in reverse. I feel like Bryce Love's going to have to get healthy, but, you bring him into the mix. We talked about P-Ryan in the last show. Yeah. Specifically with guys, do you feel as though Darius Guice and Adrian Peterson can coexist, or do you think there will be a bell cow workhorse back?
That's an interesting question, because you look at it and you say the little that Guice showed us last year, I'm sure that he's eager to get back to that form. I'm sure the Redskins eager to have him at that form. But when you have an Adrian Peterson that showed you he's more than capable of carrying that load again, why rush him back? You know what I mean? Yeah, I think they can coexist, but I also believe that hopefully with AP being the AP that he showed us he can still be, he doesn't get too besides himself and say, I want to carry the load more than I need to.
Sure.
I think having a Guice, if you can spell AP at times, if AP can spell Guice at times, however they're going to do it. I don't know who's going to be the starter. I would think if I'm in that position, I would start AP. I would out the gate start AP and trinkle Guice in here and there for special plays. You know what I mean? Just to show y'all a change up. Here you go. And, they can honestly find a role with those two guys, like how those guys, Kamara and with the kid
Ingram. He's gone now.
And Ingram is gone now. But I've seen other teams exploit those backs like, their backs like that. So I think we really have a luxury with 4 guys that really can be very valuable to us. Now,
with
three of them should be, able to go out there and compete. But CT is really no competition. I think he's a guy that you can always count on third down. Yeah. And you put him in on passing downs because he's a hell of a receiver out of the backfield. But when you're thinking about Guice and AP is a guy that's already shooting for 2,000 yards this season. I think that's too
ambitious.
Yeah, but at the same time, that's AP. We know AP became AP because he's a guy that put that kind of, pressure on himself to go out there and produce. And you know what? My mom always said, and my dad always said, never sell yourself too short. So if you say 2,000, maybe you fall 1,800, maybe you fall 1,500. Who knows? But
I'll take either.
I take either. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's not wrong for him to do that. But I know with having a Guice and having a CT, that's too much to ask of him.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, to me, I don't. That's why I said I don't really look at it as a position battle. I guess technically it is because one guy has to start, right? But to me, the onus really is on Jay Gruden and just to be creative. And I've been saying that every year this guy's been with the Redskins. However, I am hard on him, but I'll give credit where it's due. I thought last season was Jay Gruden's best coaching job he's done here. Wow. Forget the 7-9 record for a second. When you look at how this team was snake bitten with injuries. Yeah. For them to go 7-9 and not bottom out, and you remember we were talking about this team possibly winning the division right up until December practically. So for me, I feel like that was his best coaching year, and the reason is because it almost forced him to be creative because he had so many missing pieces here and there. It was a patchwork team overall. I think he has to do that again with the running game with all these backs, especially when you're talking about if we're going to play Dwayne Haskins. I mean, what better help for a young rookie quarterback than a strong running game? I would love a Santana Moss on the outside, don't get me wrong. Yeah. But I'm just saying, if you can mix it up running the football, wouldn't that help Dwayne Haskins?
All that sounds great. And the one thing that still lingers in the back of my head is that, we can talk about the Haskins situation. Should he get the nod to compete? I'm pretty sure he's going to get the nod to compete for the job. But should we force that, him getting out there and starting as soon as he probably will want? And then you think about the running back situation with AP. Hey, you have a Guice. He's the future. We already know that. He showed you enough in college. He showed me enough in college coming out that he's going to be special. And then that first game he played in the preseason that he got injured in, he showed you what we could have, hopefully saw last year if he never got injured. But with all that said, the one thing lingers in the back of my head, will they have a stout offensive line, knowing the situation with Trent Williams, knowing the situation with having guys, they're trying to try like guard now who didn't make it anywhere else. There's just so much going on with the offensive line that as stout as they have been in the past years, they were snake bitten also. They was a part of that, that core of guys that was snake bitten with injuries. And the one healthy guy that hasn't really been as healthy as we would like has been Trent Williams. And now we might not have him at all. So we can wish and hope for any and all that stuff to happen for this team, to have a backfield that's, rolling on all cylinders with Geis and AP and CT coming in on third downs, having the quarterback that we might want to see, whether it's Haskins or whether it's, my man from Denver. But I believe that with all that said and done, we have to really get to the bottom of whatever's going to happen with our offensive line, and hoping that those guys stay intact. And I'm hoping that happens before we get into training camp.
Let's transition to the NBA. The world has changed since we last talked. The Toronto Raptors are the champions. Zion's in the league. I mean, we got everything going on, Tana. Let's start with the Raptors. Were you shocked that they were able to finish the job? We talked about it on the show, but were you shocked at all that they were able to finish the job?
I wasn't shocked. I was actually happy that they got it done, you know, because I was almost to the point to where, like, I hope these guys don't show all this potential and then, beeline and drop dead, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So to see them finish the job, to see the way they did it, hats off to Kawhi, Leonard. I mean, I never saw a guy just, honestly take over a game every night like he did with guys around him. Whether they showed up or not that night, he still carried the load.
All playoffs.
That's what I'm saying. All in the entire playoffs. I mean, we heard about during the regular season where he was like, okay, he missed a game here and there because they're trying to save him. But, man, he played lights out the entire playoff series. And it's no wonder that he's the MVP. But a guy who was an unsung hero on that team that, to me, that probably is going to get a call from somebody to be a starting guard in this league is Van Fleet.
Man, that boy can shoot the lights out.
We was sitting out there watching the games, and I'm like, the thing about Golden State that I've always, and I'm not a hater. I've told you this time and time again. I hate nothing about anybody. But what I didn't like about Golden State, to me, was they can take over any game as long as those guys, them sharpshooters, are on. When them sharpshooters are on, Clay and Stephen, when they're on, the game can be just, they can be down 20 and be up 20.
No doubt.
Within the blink of an eye.
Because of threes.
And so having a KD as well with those guys, to me, that was just like, that's cheating. That was like the cheat code.
Yeah.
And so it was crazy the way everything transpired with KD going down, with Clay going down. It was almost like, you know what, Toronto is yours.
Yeah.
Like we gave you every and everything you can have ever asked for to be in a situation, one, to have a Kawhi, two, and then to have these injuries that Golden State has been getting week in and week out. So it was almost given, but they still had to go out there and close it out. They had to go get it. And Van Fleet came up big, a guy we talked about so much in, not in the show, but amongst my peers and stuff, and the guys who I share stories with, when it comes to whatever sport it might be that we talking about. Danny Green, man, he's a guy that's been known to shoot those threes, and to see they was actually benching him in the second half to have Van Fleet come in, and this guy, to me, I think he won himself a starting position in this league.
No doubt about it. I want to go back to something you said about Kawhi real quick and give you this point. So in covering the draft for the Wizards, right? Mm-hmm. I've talked to a lot of NBA execs leading up to a draft. You have different guys you interview and you ask them about the prospects and all that. One guy I talked to was actually making the point of, in the draft, like every sport, you just don't know sometimes, right? You pass on a guy because you think whatever, and then he ends up being a star. He was at Kawhi Leonard's pre-draft workout. Wow. He told me Kawhi, this is with the Wizards, Kawhi didn't want to be there, didn't care, whatever, bombed the interview. The workout, he was like lethargic, he couldn't shoot the ball. He was just aloof. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, well, we're not taking this kid. Who does he think he is? The rest is history. So I think about that, and I think about a Santana Moss, who I did not know still to this day that every time I talk to you, I get a new story about how unheralded you were your whole life. Mm-hmm. You go to Miami, you set the world on fire, and the rest is history. You just never know with these kids. But I want to ask you about free agents now. Kevin Durant's out for the year. Yeah. Done deal. Achilles, one of the worst injuries you can have in sports. Do you think he'll stay in Golden State, or will he leave and go to a Knicks or wherever?
I think he's going to set the bar. Someone's going to still pay him mega max, super max, whatever you want to call it.
think he's leaving?
I think he'll probably leave. I mean, honestly, who knows? I'm no expert, but when it comes down to what he's due, I think he's going to go somewhere and create his own team. They probably whoever get him going to get someone else with him.
Yeah.
And they're going to have to just wait a year for him to get healthy. But it's a team out there. Brooklyn has got rid of some guys already. They can pay 2 guys that's
They're talking about
money.
Kyrie,
Exactly.
so maybe him and Kyrie.
You never know. Him and Kyrie could be over there. Just seeing what LeBron has gotten already, I was hoping that you can, possibly see Kawhi laying in that position. But I think Kawhi has shown and proven that he's more of a Jordan type of player, that he's going to get him his own team.
Think he stays.
And I don't know if he stays. If Kawhi doesn't stay in Toronto, he goes to the Clippers.
Wow.
That's how I really see
So you
it.
have KD leaving, Kawhi, you're leaning leaving?
To me, I lean more on, bro, you just won a championship. Why leave? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have the world in your hand. You have Toronto in your hand. You have a whole nation in your hand. Who knows? But I think if he leave, he goes to the Clippers instead of going to LA with LeBron.
God, he literally has a whole nation in the palm of his hands.
No doubt.
It's crazy. All right, you mentioned Kyrie with the Nets. How about Clay?
Clay is a guy I see stay. Clay without Stephen without Clay, it just doesn't happen over in Golden State. I think you can get rid of any and everybody else. Keep Clay, keep Green, keep Stephen. What Stephen's going to be there.
Yeah.
They still have a chance to get to the title. I mean, they did it before without, all those other guys. So I really believe Clay is a guy that, you keep him around. But Clay has shown and proven that he might want to be out of those guys' shadow. Who knows? You know what I mean? But I think with this knee injury, that keeps him home,
Steph without Clay. That's like Santana without me. No, I think you'd be fine. You were fine before I love you. Like Harold without the blue nails. He'll never go flat.
Going back with that.
Tana, what about Zion? You think he's going to be a star or what?
I believe he has the potential to be a star, man. Who knows? We just spoke about when these guys come into this league, you never know what they go through or what may happen, know? Coming into this league, one of the main reasons, and I know we're talking about Zion, but I always have to go back to the reason why I'm such a fan of LeBron James is because I've seen on different levels in different leagues, you name it, baseball, soccer, football. I've seen so many guys come in heralded and supposed to be the next this guy and the next that guy, and they don't pan out to be that because it's so much pressure. And LeBron James has surpassed anything that people have ever thought he could be in the NBA. Not even in just the NBA, in this world. Like he's such a great guy outside of basketball. The other things he's doing when it comes to his career outside of basketball. So when you have a guy like Zion coming in with so much hope and aspirations, a team's going to, bet the house on him and say, hey, he's going to be the next this guy, that guy. I heard him speaking just the other day on SportsCenter, and he said, hey, I'm just Zion. I'm trying to be the first Zion. You can't compare no one really because you haven't seen that freak of a athlete in a while. There's a lot of them out there.
Size.
LeBron is one, Shaq is one. You name it. A lot of them have come through the basketball, doors, but Zion is a different breed. He's a guy that you might going to probably play small forward with, but that can play a point guard, but he can play point guard. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? He's a guy that played on both sides of the ball too as well. And he's a guy that blew out his shoe and hurt himself too. So how many basketball players you seen do that? We saw Shaq dunk, goals and break baskets and stuff like that. And here's a guy blow out his shoe. So it's going to be a lot on his shoulders. Yeah. But I think if you put him around the right core teammates and the right team, well-coached team, that he doesn't have to carry so much of the load, then you might see him, restart him early, real early in his career.
Tana, for taking L's, it's a regrettable one. I'm giving it to myself.
Yeah.
I wanted to give it to both of us, so I went back and looked at a clip where I'm trash talking Drake and the Raptors, saying that they were, I believe the direct quote was, going to get their ass beat. For taking L's, I'm giving it to Drake early.
Early?
They gonna get their ass beat.
He broke the curse already.
No.
I'm with you because
they're gonna get their ass beat. Gentlemen sweep, 5 games. It's over, Drake. The curse lives on.
By the Warriors. I said the curse is over.
And I was hoping that you were with me. You only slightly co-signed. It wasn't enough to give you an L. So therefore, it's me taking L's. I owe Drake and the Raptors an apology. So there you go.
For all you out there in the 6, that was pretty hard for Travis to take that L. So just know, you know what I mean? While you guys celebrate your championship, celebrate this L that you gave to Trav, man. It's going to be hard watching him take it because he ain't going to swallow it well.
Thanks again to the Salvation Army, Catholic University for having us. Santana Moss Show. It's a wrap. We got to do this more often, man. I like this ambiance. Love it. Peace out.
It's a Santana Moss Show. Number 89, hustle all the time. Travis on the right, hot mic on the left. Every single week, it's a lyric.